In terms of my own personal development, Ziggy was many times more important to me than Paco, because Ziggy knew for about 2.5 years, a little bit longer than I knew Paco, but I knew Ziggy from about the age of 5.5 to eight, 8.5. So 2.5, close to 3 years, you only have memories, say, from the time you get to about 4.5, 5 years old. So of the first 4 years of full memories that I might have, Ziggy was dominant. Other than my mother and my father, he was probably the most important person in my life. He was like 3 years older than me. He was like a big brother to me. At that time, I guess my sister had just been adopted, but she was a little more than a toddler. So I didn't. He was the closest thing. I had some other friends who were my age, that I mentioned in the book. The Georgie character. I forget a couple of other people. I don't remember the names I gave them. But in terms of influencing me, other than my mother and my father, Ziggy was the biggest influence. And so there was this male influence kind of battle looking backwards between my dad and Ziggy. Ziggy was the streetwise kid. Ziggy was the guy if he's alive today, he probably, works driving a truck somewhere, and he probably has settled down. But I could easily see him becoming, involved in petty crimes of some sort or another. Nothing violent probably, but just a petty scam. I could see him working angles, here and there. And then my father's influence in just sort of him being a good ethical person. Whereas Paco came much later. Paco was a little over 2 years that I knew him out of maybe, the first 18 years of my life. So he was, in there 1/9, about maybe 11% of my life by that time that I knew him. Whereas Ziggy dominated probably 90, 95% of the first memorable parts of my life that I had. So Ziggy was disproportionately far more important to me, in my development.